What?
I just got a cut in my nose.
Oh,
That hurt.
we found our cold open.
Yeah. Found our cold sore.
Oh my gosh, are you
I don't
okay?
think it's
How did you
actually
cut
cold.
your nose?
You never just like you never just like, I don't know. Anyways, he's fresh out of the MRI chamber, and I'm fresh off a bout of depression. I'm Nick Gervasi, and he's Mr. Justin Dew. How are you?
That's quite an entry. Hello, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be back. I just had a bowl of soup. For those who know, for those who are keeping track, favorite food. I got my, I don't know even what you call it, but it's a green colored drink from Panera. We've got new microphones. We sound better than ever. You look better than ever. I gotta figure something out, but we're doing great. You bought a desk? Oh my gosh, no, I'm so excited.
I did. I bought a desk and I put pants on, which is something that, as you all know, I don't usually do for this show.
I don't know if they know that. I think you've mentioned it once, but Dan and I for sure. That's like Nick's pre-podcast ritual is, all right, hold on, steps out of frame, takes pants off, comes back into frame, and then he's like, I'm ready to go.
I get hot. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm kind of running on adrenaline. As you said, I'm excited to be recording again. It's been a bit, as you know, and so it's getting back into it. I think we still got it, hopefully. I mean, we're starting our third year.
We are. Point of due 2023.
Yeah. Like, I mean, technically we started in July of 2021, but for all intents and purposes, it's our third year. So yes. I'm excited. I hopefully get the rust out, get the cobwebs out. I'm really excited. As you said in the beginning, I had an MRI image done earlier, which is I get regularly for moyamoya disease, and so we'll see what the results are of those in a few days. But feeling good. I'm glad that was over. I was nervous. That might be contributing to my adrenaline. I get to see. I haven't talked to Dan in a while, so it was nice to see him as we chatted a little bit beforehand. But yeah, no, I'm very excited, and yeah, I mean, we've said this in our first episode for the last 2 years, but I'm really excited to just get right into it. So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm also super excited to be back. I feel refreshed. We were named in the top 20% of Spotify's most followed podcast. Thank you to all of our listeners. That's wild.
Doesn't seem real.
No, it doesn't.
Disbelief.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem real. I am in my childhood bedroom, so thank you.
We both are.
Yeah. All right, Justin, before we get into the episode, we have to announce the winner of our survey raffle. So, we're going to be picking the name live on the air. I have all of the submissions on my computer, and I'm just going to randomize and see whose name we get. And they will be the winner of a $25 Amazon gift card. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Respondent number 25. Let's see who that is. Wow, it's Katie McDonald, which, shout out Katie, she designed the logo for our podcast. So thank you, Katie, for that. And here you go. Here's your $25 gift card. Everybody give it up for Katie. That's awesome. When we started this show, we were at a crossroads, we're two wildly attractive young men graduating at the end of the world, which was sensational in and of itself. Like we normalize it now because it was our reality, but that was crazy. If you had shown 2019 me a picture of all of us in masks, I would have thought that, honestly, like an apocalypse broke out. I'm not kidding. I wouldn't have gone to pandemic. I would have thought global warming came, the effects, we're seeing the effects, obviously, but they were much more progressed than we thought. A nuclear outbreak, like, I wouldn't have gone to pandemic.
I mean, if you see all the movies and TV shows that are about like a post-apocalyptic world, a pandemic is a handful of the causes that start that world. I mean,
right.
Granted, COVID was not the zombie disease, but like, well, many of us were like, well, this might be the end of the world as we know it.
Right. Well, the movies are fantasy, and that's because they wear masks in those. Yeah, so it's really cool, though, because we did it at a time that we're at a crossroads. We didn't have full-time jobs. We had just graduated, and the world was kind of stopped. And starting the show at that point, we've come, pretty far in our careers. Granted, it's only been 3 years, but this show is a documentation, really, of us growing up as adults. We started at the very beginning of, really, our adult life.
Yeah.
So it's so cool. And
legitimately,
I got a promotion, you got a promotion. Tell us about that. What happened?
Yeah, it's a task that's added to my job description that I get paid at a higher rate for when I do that task. So I don't know. I took that as a promotion. You take the little wins, and I feel like that was maybe more towards a medium win than a little win. But I was very excited about that. You were promoted a month ago, or a few months ago at this point. That was a big day for you for multiple reasons, which I'm sure you're going to get into in a bit here. But that's exciting.
I am going to get into it. It was exciting. It was a high and low of a day, if I've ever had one. But before I get into that, I do just want to say your win is not medium. That is a huge win. The fact that they're trusting you to work with the youth, as you call them.
The youth. That's the legal term. Yeah.
In a medical or in a wellness setting too, and they're trusting you to, as you told me earlier, train other people to do the same thing. Like, they don't trust me with the toaster at work. I'm not kidding. Like, I exploded a brownie yesterday at the restaurant. In fact, that's a lie. I didn't explode one. I exploded two.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
Sidebar.
Microwave issues. Yeah. But, so I also got a promotion. I work, as you all may know, I was a marketing coordinator at a bank. My title was changed to marketing specialist, and I did get a raise. We love money.
We've all known you've been special for years, so we're so happy you're now being acknowledged as
marketing.
The marketing specialist that you are.
Yes, which is what we've been calling me for 3 years on this show. But my supervisor has been out on leave for the last 3 months, and I've essentially been running the marketing department myself and reporting to my supervisor's supervisor, who has been a huge help, and I would not be able to do it without her. She's really been incredible.
And she's not in marketing herself, right? She's in HR.
Right. Well, she oversees HR, marketing, and customer experience.
Okay. But when you say you've been running the marketing department yourself, that's no exaggeration. Like, the person you're reporting to right now, I mean, their specialty or their expertise is not in marketing. So they're trusting in you just as much as you're kind of relying on them. And that's huge, Nick. Like, I mean, you said that my promotion was, not a low to medium. Like, that's incredible that you got hired there a little over a year ago. And
a year and a half now. And you're in the position that you are. So, pat yourself on the back, too. That's fantastic. Thank you. They trust me as well, those dummies. But
just not with the microwave.
So I was super busy the day that I got the promotion, and my my supervisor called me, and she was like, "Do you have a minute?" I was like, "Not really." And then she brought up money. I was like, "I'll be right in." But she basically just said, like, you're doing more than a marketing coordinator position right now. You're acting as more than a marketing coordinator, so I want to change your title and I want to give you a raise. And I was like, that's incredible. So that was like a huge, high of the day. And then 4 years later, you know what? Can we just cut back to the clip? We're going to do a one-time segment. I'm calling it "This Aged Worse Than the Time I Had a Girlfriend." Let's just listen to the clip right here. I will stick with my Subaru for as long as I live. I love Donna. Okay. So, you heard that right. That was a clip from, I believe, October, when we spoke with Emily Kane. Shout out, Emily. I think I drove Donna for about 2 more weeks, and then Donna met, well, the hood of Donna met the antler of deer. So, yeah, I did hit a deer and totaled Donna. She died as she lived, going under the speed limit. But nevertheless, I did definitely bring new meaning to deer in headlights, because there was a deer in my headlight, like
In your
actually
headlights.
in my headlight. All four
Yeah.
airbags went off. I was fine. Like, I've been in accidents before where I was never driving, but like people have hit us and I've been at least sore. I wasn't even sore the next day. It was wild.
Let
And
me
to be
just
honest,
if
yeah.
if you don't mind, I just want to kind of tell my perspective of that day. Uh, and so Nick and I were talking earlier on about that, or earlier on in that day. He told me about his promotion. I was so excited for him. I was on a long drive for some reason. I don't know where I was coming from or where I was going, but it was in a long drive. It happened to be the same day that Donald Trump announced his candidacy for president of 2024, and I said, Nick, did you hear that this is going, like, he's supposed to be doing this tonight? And he was like, no. And so we were talking a little bit about that, and no, I don't know if it was that or if it was the Mike Pence town hall. Do you remember one or the other? I don't know.
No,
I think
that
it was,
wasn't. I had two things that were,
yeah, little above those things. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was one of those things. So anyway, I was texting Nick and I was like, oh, did you know that this is happening? And I watched both of those things. I don't know what day it was, but anyway, so I texted him later on that day and I was like, oh, let's just say it for this conversation, it was the Donald Trump announcement. I go,
It
oh, he
was.
did
It
it.
was.
He's announcing his presidency. He's going to run for 2024. Like, would you like a debrief? And I didn't hear a response. And he goes, I go, it happened. He goes, what? I texted him, it happened. He goes, what? And I go, Donald Trump announced his presidency. And he goes, oh. And he goes, I totaled Donna. And I go, wait, what? And I was like, no, yeah. He's like, yeah, I hit a deer. I totaled the car. And I'm like, it was literally a span of 3-4 hours that
Yeah,
we talked first and then talked again. And I was like, you just had this huge, I mean, you maybe weren't feeling trauma, but traumatic event that just happened. And I'm here talking about, like, oh, let's talk about politics again. I was
Yes.
just like, are you okay? Are you on your way to the hospital? Why are you responding to my text messages?
No, I was
What?
home and in bed at the time. I was fine. I was
shocked.
pissed.
I was like, you just had a you just told me you got promoted, and then, like, this can't be real. Like, you're shitting with me right now.
Well, that was another thing, that a milestone that happened on this show is I bought my first car. Like, I went
Yeah,
from
yeah.
my dad's old car to buying that one, and it was only 5 months old. And I was pissed. I wasn't, traumatized. I was pissed. And I always said, if I ever hit like an animal or deer, like, I would feel horrible. Like, I wouldn't be able to live myself. But that thing came at me, and like, I was pissed. Like, Bambi is with his mother now, as he should be. And that thing was massive too. Like, I don't even think that was Bambi. I think that was like Bambalaya or like Bumby or Bombi or something, because that thing had antlers. It was a 6-point buck. Yeah, it was. And I did not see it.
Bambaliath, like
Yes,
Goliath.
Bambaliath. There you go. I did not see it, and until it was dead. Like, it wasn't like a thing I was like, oh my god, deer, and swerved. I was driving, and then there were airbags in my face, and I was like, I didn't know what I hit, what happened if someone hit me, and then I saw the deer, lying in the road. It was
And the
dead.
funny thing is, not funny, but just horribly ironic thing is, earlier that weekend we had just finished playing Big Brother, which we've alluded to in previous episodes, and we promise you we will get you that Big Brother episode as soon as it's ready. We just want it to be chef's kiss. But I was saying to you on car rides back and forth that weekend, oh, did you hear that it's deer mating season, which means that there are more deer on the road and they're jumping into roads. Like, my aunt and uncle, who they own a giant pickup truck, totaled, or I don't even know totaled, but significantly damaged their giant pickup truck driving to Florida because the same thing happened. And you had a
Yeah.
Subaru Crosstrek. Like, again,
Yes.
I'm so glad. And you said too that the mechanic or the fire department said that the car did everything that it was supposed to. Shout out Subaru, please sponsor us. But, like, the fact that you were in a Subaru Crosstrek compared to their giant pickup truck, I'm just so glad that you were okay, because things could have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, the car looked not great, but it folded in all the right ways, as they said, and people joked when I said I want a Subaru Crosstrek for, what did I say? We can probably go back to that clip too. The safety ratings, it held up. Another thing that held up, my Chromatica keychain in the mirror was untouched.
Most important.
Yes, but I don't know. I forgot actually that we were on the phone during that car ride, you and I.
Yeah.
It happened probably 20 minutes.
You were heading to the restaurant.
I was, so I wasn't going to the restaurant, or I wasn't planning on going to the restaurant. I got the promotion, I was so excited, and my friend Claire, who was on this show, episode 31, said, hey, I'm working at the restaurant. She came back. She left when it switched from BBC to the new place, and she came back, and she was like, hey, I'm working, you should come in and visit. I was like, yeah, like, I have good news, I might as well go celebrate. I didn't make it there. But yeah.
Oh,
that's okay.
Terrible. And honestly, and I'll share this, you ruined your Christmas present from me.
Yes.
So what did you find, or you were informed about?
So I was at a Christmas Eve party, and my neighbor was like, I was telling them about this, the incident with the car. By the way, Donna 2.0 is doing very well. That is her name. She's a 2023, not by choice.
It's officially Donna 2.0. It's not.
It's officially,
or not Cheryl, or whatever you're saying.
I thought about Cheryl. I thought about Annette, but we're going with Donna 2.0. It feels right because it's the exact same car, just a 2023 model. So She got a facelift, but she'll never know what became of her older sister. But I was telling my neighbor about the situation with the deer, and he was like, they make these deer whistles. And I was like, no way. I was like, I need this one. Because if you thought I drove slow beforehand, I passed. There's only one thing more traumatic than totaling Donna, and it's seeing pieces of Donna in the road for the next week. So like, I'm reminded of that.
As you were driving that road?
Yes, every time. So I'm reminded of that. So I was going 20 miles an hour. I now drive 10 miles an hour. That's an exaggeration, but
only a slight one though.
Yeah, yes, that is true. You've been in the car with me. So I texted Justin. I was like, you're never going to believe what they make. And then how did you respond?
So then I responded, well, he goes, you're never going to believe what they make. And he sends me a picture of these deer repellent whistle things you put on your car, as he said. And so I called him immediately, and he's like, I'm gonna get them. And I called him immediately, and he didn't pick up. And then I was like, I called him again. Eventually he picked up, and I said, well, you unintentionally ruined your Christmas present because I bought you those for your car for Christmas.
Yeah.
Because as funny but also useful, So.
I don't think there's anything funny about it. I'm going to put one on every corner. There's going to be one on every corner of my car.
I think it's hilarious that those things. I mean, granted, I haven't been in a car accident with a deer, but I think it's hilarious that those things exist. And they're literally the size of they look like they could wrap around a toothpick. Like, they're really small.
Yes.
So it's just really funny that those things deter deer from running at you full speed.
Right, and we should say the way that they work. The way that they work, it's kind of like a dog whistle. We can't hear it, but if you're going at a certain rate of speed, I believe it's 30 miles an hour, so maybe these aren't even going to work for me. No, I'm kidding.
I know, I was going to say, you're going to have to start going the speed limit now.
The deer hate the noise, and they run away. So, and it's made by AutoZone, so if you want to talk sponsorships, I mean, I know we joke about companies sponsoring us, but this
AutoZone,
thing I am going to
sponsor us, I will return the off-brand ones that I got and buy yours.
I'm dead. No, seriously, I would come on every single episode and say whatever the hell they want me to. If they want me to say that I shove them up my nose and blow to scare the deer away, I will. Like, I'm not even joking. Nick
goes on his nightly run to protect his house from deer and just sticks the whistles
so far up there, one in each nostril. And I do laps.
And then 5 in your mouth.
Yeah, because I literally.
Copy?
Oh,
We should we should have
we
should
need to
explain
explain
that
the.
too.
Wait, so what's
That
the
would have been
copy?
a great opportunity.
What's
No,
the copy? We're going to
no,
explain it.
No, because I can't copy myself. So sorry, time's
Oh,
passed.
okay. All right. We'll get into
Do
that.
you want to
but-
explain it or me? This is going to be new for this year and maybe going
Yes.
forward for the podcast. But
Yes,
do you
so
want
it's
to
a-
explain it?
Yeah, well, it's a game for 10-year-olds where.
No, it's not. It's
No.
more fun when you're
Yeah. It's when
enjoy
somebody.
adult humor.
Yeah. So this started senior year, I believe.
Sophomore
At
year
least
for me, junior year
soph-
for you.
Okay, yeah. Where
Time
if
doesn't-
somebody
not a thing
says
in COVID.
something, no, it's not. It's when someone says something that can be used out of context later. It can be inappropriate, but it doesn't have to be inappropriate. Like you could say something like totally innocent that out of context would sound just strange or funny. So if you say copy after, and you obviously, like, the person has to be playing the game and in on the game. You can't.
And
just,
you're all
like, force
familiar with
someone-
copying and pasting on your phone.
Right, yeah. And if you're not, then probably don't fit into the age demographic of the show. But yeah, but so if you say copy and then you can later say paste, and that person would have to say whatever they last said that you copied them on.
So the way it works is if I said something and then there's a pause of silence and Nick says copy, the last thing that I said is copied. But if I
Right.
say something that I know has the high potential of being copied and I don't want it to be copied, and I said something immediately afterwards, then if he says copy, it's just the thing immediately that precedes the copy.
Yeah, so we'll be
So-
playing that throughout this year. You'll get the hang of it.
Yes. And I
It's-
said something extremely inappropriate. It could be taken as a euphemism. So he missed an opportunity.
in this one, yeah.
In this
Yeah,
one,
no,
we
I
were
did.
talking about putting whistles places, and then we also were talking about
Yeah.
how many were.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I'm scared to talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. I'm not even thinking about
You're
copying
not
you. My
thinking
bad.
at all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on a good one. I'm really excited. But in the past, people have been. And just for context too, when we were in college, my sophomore year, Nick's junior year, we got so intense in this that we started a spreadsheet. So everyone playing there was
Ten?
this person has this person copied on and just things that were copied. And Nick, this is like a safe zone right here, so no copying things, but things that people had were copied on were speaking of exes, how's your sister? So
That was great. And that
guest
was
on this show, which
Yeah.
I won't out now, but
Well,
a
can
guest
I-
that has been on this show said that at one point.
Can
and
I just
had
say
him copied
something?
I had them copied on that. Yeah.
they're a very caring person, and they knew that someone's sister was going through a rough breakup. And someone mentioned an ex, and he very genuinely said, speaking of exes, how's
Trying
your
to
sister?
segue the conversation into
Yes.
checking in on my sister.
Yes.
But-
And he got copied on that. So then you could, like, days later, you could be having a conversation, and then this person has to say, speaking of exes, how's your sister? And it sounds like he's fully...
Whenever I said paste. Yeah.
Yeah, either hitting on her or, like, asking as if she's the ex. Like, it was too good. And the fact that it didn't match his character at all made it 10 times better.
This was Nick's idea to implement this into this year and going forward, and I'm very excited to see what comes on,
Yes.
because we say some things.
We say the darndest things, but we were
Oh, yeah.
talking about car accidents. Speaking of unfortunate ways to travel, you had an experience with Southwest.
Oh yes. As we all know, or as many of us know, as we should know, if we keep up with news, Southwest really shit the bed this holiday season. And let me just say, I'm still a loyal Southwest patron. I guess I've gotten some gift cards for Christmas. Southwest gift cards, because I do a lot of traveling with them. But oh my gosh, they really shit the bed. So basically, I think it was Elliot. Was that the storm that started it all?
Oh, I
think it was
thought you
like-
meant from Jordan's Furniture.
No, I think Elliot was the storm, and basically after Christmas and during Christmas, starting like the Thursday before Christmas and going until the Saturday after Christmas, or like New Year's Eve, they canceled more than half of their flights, I would say about 65% or more of their flights across the country. So I was supposed to be traveling the day after Christmas, and I was on an 8:30 flight from Boston, and that flight got canceled. And then I got rebooked on a 1:30 flight and on a standby list for 11:30 flight. Those flights got canceled. I ended up having to drive to my destination. And then it's a good thing I did, because then my return flight got canceled. And it was just a nightmare. Do you know anyone else who was part of this? Like, it was just, we're receiving news, and, I might start a news section on this podcast, because everyone knows I love the current events and stuff, where like a 14-year-old was stuck at an airport for like a week because they couldn't get their shit together. It was nuts. It was so frustrating. Although the one silver lining is that and the reason why I still love Southwest is because their customer service, at least from my experience, was fantastic. Like, they rebooked me when they did, and they were able to like cancel and refund me, and they gave me 25,000 free like rapid rewards points just for like the hassle. I mean, granted, I was able to get from my origin to my destination, but for those who are going cross country or were unable to drive and all that stuff, like, I am so sorry for you. But from what I've heard, and I think they're under a lot of lawsuits, but they're doing their best to make up for it. But I don't know. That was just my little thing, because it was just a fiasco. It was so bad. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, not them getting canceled for canceling flights.
Yeah, literally. I think they're under investigation too. Pete Buttigieg is of the Department of not Department of Justice. That's silly. The Department of Transportation is investigating them because of just nonsense. But I will still fly them. But
are we taking Spirit for now?
Oh, no, I still won't take Spirit. After all of that, I still will never take Spirit.
I took it once, and I actually had a very pleasant experience, and I will say they had the nicest gate area at Logan Airport in Boston. Really? I will say. Granted, that might not be Spirit at all. That might be a Logan Airport thing,
I've taken them maybe 3 times, and every time the flight has been delayed. And just I don't know. I can't do Spirit. And I'm a pretty tall person. I'm 6 foot, and my leg room is terrible. And I can't. I literally feel like I'm selling my soul when I fly Spirit. I can't do it. All right.
Well, so you had some, cancellations. You had some travel mishaps, but I guess all's well that ends well, because you came home with COVID for the first time.
I did. Right? I did. I came home from COVID. It finally happened. I was I've said this out loud before. I literally thought I was immune, which was dumb and foolish, and I didn't really think I was immune, just for people who were trying to cancel me. But I got COVID for the first time. It wasn't bad. I'm fully up to date with vaccines and stuff, and again, just my experience, I think that it wasn't that bad for me because I am vaccinated. And so, I have no idea. There are many places I could have gotten it from. But yeah, I did have COVID. It was not bad. And then it started going through my family again. And there are some people in my circles who I think are having rebound cases and stuff. And this also, another thing in the news, apparently the new variant, it's concentrated within the Northeast. So right where you and I live is where the new variant is just kind of spreading like wildfire. So I did get it. You've had it before, right?
I did. I had it at this time last year, and it sucked because, well, first of all, I didn't feel good, but second of all, it was right after my company stopped paying for COVID time, so I had to use vacation time and sick time. So I essentially lost, and, the company was gracious, but I lost almost a week of vacation. So I only had 1 vacation this year.
Wow. And it resets at the end of the calendar year?
Yes. Your company? So I have 2 this year, and I'm trying not to use them, although I am taking a half day tomorrow because I am going to Claire's school where she is going to give me a free facial. So,
what is she in school for again?
She is going to be an esthetician. Follow Claire Kane Aesthetics on Instagram.
Very nice.
There's that plug. But yeah, so I'm very excited that I have 2 weeks of vacation. No.
And you're her
Hopefully.
muse,
I am.
essentially. I don't know.
Well, she
You're the
did
one
my
getting the
eyebrows.
facial, so-
She did my eyebrows.
Well, I guess you're just her guinea pig then.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Someone at the restaurant, shout out Leah, I don't know if she listens to this, but called them gas, which is a good thing.
Your eyebrows?
So, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I
they
think it's a
need to
good
be...
thing.
Yeah, no, it is a good
accused
thing.
me of being hip and relatable, but I don't know.
Accused. But that's okay. Yeah, so...
I
I
just
think
want to
now-
say too, as we get into this new kind of year, if you follow us on social media, you've seen this. If you don't follow us at Point of View Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and at Point of View on Twitter, but
And now
Nick-
TikTok,
and TikTok, which our handle is.
at Point of View Podcast.
Nick has been working his ass off marketing for the show and just doing all of these things behind the scenes that maybe you have seen, maybe you haven't seen. Dan and I have seen this. And so I just want to give you kudos there too, because we really want this show to grow. I think we've established that. I mean, in our meetings, but also just like on the show. And we want it to be entertaining, informative, and just for you. We want it to be something you enjoy listening to. And I think the marketing piece is a big piece of how that happens. Yeah, I don't know if you always get the applause that you deserve, so I just want to say that too, right in the middle here.
Well, thank
So.
you. I appreciate that. I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to this year and growing the show and reaching more people. My goal with it this year is just to spread as much positivity and to make people laugh and entertain people during their car rides, during times that they, might otherwise be alone and want to, talk to people, because that has been one of the biggest or most common pieces of feedback that we've
Yeah.
heard is that you feel like you're talking, you feel like you're a part of the conversation when listening to the show. And that is something that is,
And I think that might be our, last year our mantra was we speak our truth to learn the truth. I feel like that might be our guiding kind of motto kind of going forward, is trying to make the show continue to feel like you're part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Because this, in the end, that's what this is. It's just a conversation between you and I, and if we have a guest, our guest, that's just like a conversation that you and I would have, except we're recording it. And that's what
Exactly.
made us want to start the show anyway.
yes, this is true. It is time for a new segment that we're calling Pop Culture Updates. So, I have 3 for you, Justin. We'll see if you know them. The first one.
I feel like the chances are I haven't. This is why we're doing this, because I feel like you're honestly educating me in pop culture, and I'm educating you on some like news events that like we
News
just don't pay
offense?
attention to.
Is that
Events, not
events? I was
Events.
like, what?
No, not
okay.
news offense.
So the first story I have for you is the movie Megan. It's a horror movie.
I do know. Yes.
Yes, it debuted with 30 million opening weekend in the US
$30
alone.
million dollars?
$30 million.
Okay.
Yep. It debuted globally with 45 million, earning 45 million with a $27 million budget. Or I'm sorry, excuse me. I believe it was a $12 million budget. It was expected to do 27 million globally.
At the box
So,
office.
yes, at the box office. So and that was opening weekend only. It just came out. It's doing very well. And I saw it, but I'll ask you
You
first.
did?
Are you going to see it? Yes.
I will not. Didn't I say to you I might?
Yeah, you could see it.
Really?
You could so see it.
It's an interesting concept. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a slasher movie essentially. I mean, like it's kind of like the new version of Chucky.
Yes, it very much is the new version of Chucky. And if you've seen the most recent Chucky, it's that.
The series or the movie? Because I know there's a Chucky
The movie.
series. And
The
stuff.
movie.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, it seems interesting. I mean, it's an interesting concept. Original concept? Not really. But I mean,
No.
like, it's an interesting concept. I've been intrigued by the trailers. I hate horror movies. I think I told you I might see this one.
I
with
think you could.
but I
I'll go
think
with
you've
you.
already just skipped it, and you were like, he's not going to see it and saw it without me. But
I would have had you. I would have.
no, it's okay. Because I still don't know. I need to like psych myself up to see it. But Maybe at home. Maybe when it comes out in an on demand type of, we'll watch it then. But
Well, I will say it got a 97% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
wow.
And I like horror movies, even if they're bad. And I will say, this is just not to disappoint people, but it is not deserving of a 97%. There's nothing bad about it, but there's no good, like, plot twist. It's funny. It's campy. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it intentionally takes itself seriously, knowing that it's very tongue-in-cheek, you know?
I don't really know what that phrase means, but I'll nod my head and say I know what you mean.
Okay. For time constraints, I'm not
To
going
be fair, I think the recent DreamWorks Puss in Boots got 98% of Rotten Tomatoes. So
yes, it did do really well. I don't know the exact rating, but yeah. No, it's funny. I think a lot of it had to do with the marketing. They had just Megan dolls dancing at sporting events, kind of like they had with the Smile movie, the creepy
Did
just
they
random
really?
people. Yes, they did. And there's just been a lot of memes online circulating, and the power of social media, especially TikTok. And I'm going to get into that as my number 3. No, let's go to it now. Netflix just renewed its number 2 most popular show ever, Wednesday, which is a story about Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. It's a Netflix show, and yeah, it's the second most popular show that they've ever done. And they just released the trailer for it, and they used the song Bloody Mary, which is a deep cut from Lady Gaga's 2011 Born This Way album. It's very interesting because that, you may have seen on TikTok, has been just going viral. Everybody doing the Wednesday dance and editing. That was a fan that edited the song to Bloody Mary, or edited that scene to Bloody Mary. Netflix had nothing to do with it at all.
Is that the one where it's like, dance,
Yes.
from my hand,
Yes.
hand,
Yes.
hand?
It's a deep
Yeah,
cut
okay.
from Born This Way. It was never a single. It went so viral. It's now her most popular song on Spotify, despite being, 11 years old. It was
Wow.
sent to radio as a single in 2022, at the end of 2022. Because of that, Netflix started, tweeting at her, and then she tweeted back and she was like, Slay Wednesday, like, you're always welcome at the House of Gaga, and also bring Thing with you. We love paws around here. And Thing, if you watch the show and if you know the Addams Family, is basically a claw, a hand, which is
It's a severed hand
yes,
that basically is its own being and like kind of maneuvers like a spider.
right. And Lady Gaga's symbol for her fan base, Little Monsters, is a monster paw, and it looks essentially the same. And they've just had the Twitter handle for the show is tweet. It's as if Wednesday is tweeting herself, so it's really cool. And it's been really cool to see. So now that it's in the actual trailer, of the show, and people want her to do like a cameo in the second season because Tim Burton, who made the show, went to Enigma in 2019, so they do know Enigma was her Las Vegas pop residency, and they know each other. So it's really cool to see the power of TikTok, and it's happening also with a lot of other songs that are like old songs that are going viral on TikTok. Namely, "Unstoppable" by Sia was also sent to radio. That's from her 2016 album, This Is Acting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never popular in 2016. It was never a single. And also "Die For You" from The Weeknd's 2016 album, Starboy. So
Yeah, I
very,
heard that
very
on the
cool.
radio, and the DJ said new, and I go, no, this came out
Right.
years ago, but
It's new to
interesting
the
that-
public.
Yeah.
Even though it was a deep cut on an album. So yeah, so that's really cool. And
If
I
just
also
might add too that like Wednesday is a great show. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's
I
a
haven't,
great,
but I
it's a
will.
great show. I mean, I binged I think it's 8 episodes, all 8 episodes like before Christmas and on Christmas Eve because we had a COVID Christmas, but it was
we did. You did.
fantastic. Great show.
Oh my god, it's already dark out. I hate that. And then my final thing related to Netflix is actor, you probably saw this because you're a news person. Stranger Things actor Noah Schnapp came out as gay, which was very shocking. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. He's big on TikTok, but I don't really follow TikTok. But I just thought it was really cool. He's very young. He's 18. So, no, I'm very excited for him and happy for him. That's a very, I know, like from my own experience, that's a very special time and age to be, figuring that out. And I think it's really cool for he has a lot of young fans, and it's just more. It's just so much more normalized than it was even 10 years ago. So I'm really excited for him, and I mean, I don't know him personally, but I
think it was cool that he came out to the public, at least on TikTok, and the on-screen text was something like, when you tell your brothers and family that you're gay, and their response is, we know.
Which some people had an issue with, but I understand what he was coming with. It was just they were unfazed.
Right. Unfazed, and I took it as like, we're not going to treat you any differently. Like
I do too.
Like
I do
support
too.
type of thing.
Right.
He also, I think, said somewhere that because his character Will on Stranger Things is gay, and in this most previous season, you kind of started to see glimpses of that when he's crying in the car because his friend Mike, who he likes, or it appears he likes, is talking about his own relationship with Eleven, and he's just. It's an emotional scene, and so I think he said somewhere in an interview, I don't know if it was with Entertainment Weekly or somewhere, but he said that he connects to the character. He realized he connected to the character more than he initially thought, which is kind of cool.
It is, for sure.
I mean, I'm not an actor, but that a character that you're playing can kind of help you navigate your own identity as you're growing and figuring out who you are in this world. So,
right,
kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy for him. Honestly,
yeah,
it's such a special feeling and time. At least it was for me. I know it's not for everybody, but it was. I remember it fondly. I look back on it fondly. Sure. Do you have anything for us news wise?
Yeah, let's go to the news corner. The news desk.
All right, let's do that.
So this isn't necessarily news, but
yeah, it is.
When we're recording this, it's been about a week since Buffalo Bill Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field due to apparent cardiac arrest. And first off, Nick, have you heard of this story?
Yes, I have. It's wild.
So after completing a tackle, he stood up. This was on Monday Night Football. In Cleveland, Ohio. He stood up and then collapsed. Trainers and medical staff came over. CPR was being administered, and then eventually he was carted off the field in an ambulance and sent to a hospital. We're recording this, and it was a week after. He's since been able to. He was intubated for a while, which, for those who don't know what that means, he wasn't able to breathe on his own, so a tube was down his throat. And when you're intubated, you have to be put under. And since then, he put out a public statement. He's been able to FaceTime with his team, and doctors believe he's in the right direction. But just it was really shocking, and just I couldn't take my eyes off of this story as it was happening because we weren't sure what was going to happen, And looking back at this, there was a real possibility that he could have passed on the field, but because of the quick thinking of medical staff and the trainers from both teams and in the stadium, and the paramedics that attended to him, he's on a road to recovery. But this was an interesting story, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about it because we know he's doing okay. I wouldn't want to talk about this if he wasn't doing okay, but we're so glad. I think everyone in the sports community, just everyone in general who's been following the story, are glad that he's on the road. He's trending in the right direction. I don't want to say he's doing okay, even though I just did, but he's trending in the right direction. But I wanted to talk about, what are our thoughts? This is an opinion podcast. What are our thoughts on, we also don't know on sports in general, and kind of like football, hockey, just the violent sports that could, induce something like this. Let it also be said that we don't know if the tackle caused the cardiac arrest, and we also don't know if it was blunt force to the head that caused the cardiac arrest, or if it was a pre-existing condition. But what were your initial thoughts? And I'm very curious about how the NFL handles this, or if they investigate it, what it looks like, and if the league changes any rules or anything like that. But Yeah. What were your initial thoughts? We'll start there.
I thought you were asking me what my thoughts are on sports, and I was like, I don't understand them.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's really sad. It's a dangerous sport, and granted, it's a job. It's not like they're being forced to play, so I don't think it's like, oh, that should be like, yes, should we have the absolute safest precautions in place? Yes, definitely. But it's that, unfortunately, is what they're signing. Not unfortunately, but that's what they're signing up for. It was a tragic accident, and it's been really cool to see the outpouring of support for this player. Just from all around the country. I don't know if you saw his, I think, my dad said this, so I don't know if it's like, I don't know what his source was, but his, Toys for Tots fund, fund.
Yeah,
is
he has his own, it's not Toys for Tots, but he has his own toy drive.
Okay, it's up to like $9 million or something.
Yeah, it was about $3,000 beforehand, and since last Monday, it's raised over $9 million.
And the fact that, too, like, he was doing this before, granted he had a platform before, because he was a football player, but he was doing it before the spotlight was really put on him, which I think is cool. It shows he's a genuine guy, and a kind person, and, we're rooting for him, obviously. But, yeah, I think just all-around scary situation we want to have. If there's, things we can do to put, even more,
it's tough to suggest ways to reform the game of football because this happened, because in a way it was a freak accident.
That's true too.
Right? Because we don't know, at least I don't know yet if he had any pre-existing conditions. I mean, there are ways in which a hit can go badly. I forget the term that people were using, but there's a name, and someone listening probably is saying it out loud at their radio or whatever, but there's a term where if you get impact at a certain time in your heart rhythm, your heartbeat, it can cause like cardiac arrest. So that people are wondering if that happened. But I don't know. I don't think we should get into necessarily like philosophical questions about like, should we be paying to watch these athletes just pummel each other at play after play after play? I don't think that's the point, and I would hope that, especially after all of the science that's come out about concussions and former NFL players, health issues that have been going on, the research behind just that type of impact that causes long-term health conditions, I would hope the NFL is reforming in a way that protects its players as well as the game, but players first. And but I think it's definitely something to make us think about it, right? Because we all love, or especially this country loves football, and it just makes us remember that these are people, and that for our entertainment, they are on their own volition playing this violent sport. But how can we make it so that it is safe and they're still able to do what they want to do while not jeopardizing long-term health? Definitely something to think about. That's what I have. I'm sure there will be more news. There will be lots of more news going forward, but that's what I have today.
There always is. But thank you, Justin, and welcome back. I just want to be the first one to say that to you and to all of our listeners. And with that, my name is Nick Gervasi.
And I'm Justin Dew.
You can reach us at our email, pointofdewpodcast@gmail.com, or by sending us a voice message on our website, anchor.fm/pointofdew. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Point of Dew Podcast, and now on TikTok at Point of Dew Podcast, and Twitter at Point of Dew. If you enjoy our show, give us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts, or share us with a friend or family member. We'd really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. As always, we hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening, and until next time,
welcome back,
H.